Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a whole new way of thinking about meditation. And there's a couple of things I want to say before we get started that people sometimes get worked up about the way I talk about meditation. Now, it's a very odd thing. Uh, there's an old story about the enlightened master Yuji Krishnamurti, and he talked about how his father was a great meditator, and he would meditate for 2 hours a day, every day, and if the children made any noise when he was meditating, he'd whip his belt off and beat them. I don't know why meditation can be such an emotive subject for people, but I do know that it can be. And so what I'll ask is, if you think that might be you, just take a step back from it and watch it as a curious alternative point of view. Now, if meditation is something that you're interested in but don't necessarily feel super strongly about, or something that you've tried to get yourself to do for years and have never quite pulled off, then I think you're really going to not only enjoy what we're going to talk about, but I think you're going to find it really helpful. And the reason that I think sometimes people can get worked up about it is because I often talk about meditation without meditating. And what that means is that there's a difference between the practices that we call meditation, which often involve certain patterns of breathing. It might involve mantras. It might involve specific focus points to concentrate on, like a flame. And the state that all those practices are designed to help you access, which is also called meditation. So we're going to be focusing for the majority of our time together on the state of meditation. But I will actually also be talking you through some of the simpler practices of meditation that might give you some ways of tasting the state if it's not immediately familiar to you. My favorite description of the state of meditation comes from the enlightened Scottish welder Sid Banks. And he talked about meditation as being a silent mind and a beautiful feeling. Now, I'm going to expand on that a little bit, and my expansion will be my experience and my interpretation, not Sid's. When people hear a silent mind, certainly when I first heard about a silent mind, I thought, right, never going to get that. It's really noisy up here. What I've come to see is that a silent mind is the space inside which noise comes and goes. It's the blank page on which the words are written. I'll sometimes do a demonstration with an audience where I'll take a big white flip chart page and I'll ask people what color it is, and they'll generally all say white. And then I'll take a black magic marker and I'll just draw a little bit of black in one of the corners of the page. And I'll say, what color is this corner? And they'll say, white with black on it. And then I'll fill in that corner until it's completely black. And I'll say, what color is it now? And most people will say black until I point out that it's still white. It's just covered over in black. The reason that a silent mind seems like some kind of an unattainable goal for so many of us is because we look at the noise and think that has to be taken care of before we can experience the silence of mind. In fact, the opposite is true. When we stop attending to the noise, when we stop attending to the specific thoughts, when we stop trying to control the volume of thought or the type of thought that passes through your mind all day, every day, what's constant is mind. So one of the metaphors that's often used for the space of meditation is the sky. The sky has clouds in it. It has the sun in it. It has birds that pass through it throughout the day. But the sky itself never changes. Like the sky, the space of meditation is vast. It's empty, even when there's things inside it. It's always metaphors with meditation, because there's no real way to describe the nature of consciousness itself. Somebody once asked Sid, what What's that beautiful feeling that comes up in that space of silence, in that quiet space? And he described it as pure consciousness, uncontaminated by our personal thinking. Now, to me, that doesn't mean absent of our personal thinking. It just means that there are times, and if you take a few moments to reflect on it, I'm sure you can think of some, where there may well have been thoughts passing through your mind, but they didn't contaminate the quiet. There may well have been things that you had to do and thoughts that came up about people that you might have had judgments about, or situations that you might have had judgments about, or even yourself that you might have judgments about. But in those moments, the thoughts didn't contaminate the space. And that, at least as I'm talking about it in these videos, is all I mean when I say meditation. I'm not talking about any particular practice. I'm not talking about any particular feeling or way of being. I'm just using it as a word to describe that infinite space of pure consciousness, uncontaminated by our personal thinking. The silent mind and the beautiful feelings that come with it.